live Skyping with Amanda Holmes from Holmes International. Hi,
there
Amanda.
She is.
Hello.
First, Amanda, we want to say we're so sorry we had some technical difficulties on Wednesday. You had such amazing content. We knew we had to follow back up with you today. So I'm really excited. On Wednesday, for everyone that's watching now that may have missed it on Wednesday afternoon, I guess it was lunchtime.
At noon, yeah.
We were talking about social media marketing on a small budget. And we had gotten to a really interesting section where one of the tips is to really use engaging content. So with Amanda, she had some great tips. And, let me just clarify. It's Amanda Holmes with Holmes
International.
Yes. And she's the CEO, and she is doing some amazing things with content, which is why we're actually having her on here to talk about the engaging content she's been doing and kind of her strategy. And she's just like you guys. She wears several hats every day. And so we're going to let her take it away, give herself a better introduction than I even did. But we're so happy to have her. She's great to talk to. And I'm really excited because as a woman, it's always great to see other women come up. But also, she's really killing it just in general. So, hey, Amanda.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Crystal and Natalie. This is wonderful. I always love Infusionsoft. I'm a huge fan of Infusionsoft. I've spent lots and hundreds of thousands of dollars on other CRMs, and I have to say that Infusionsoft makes me so happy. I've built out a whole marketing and sales funnel, and it runs without me. So I'm thanks to Infusionsoft. So just sending that out there.
Thanks.
So what I wanted to cover today, which I think would be the most valuable for everyone. So my business has been around for 30 years. We started in 1991, and we really got our big break using radio. So I have over 200,000 businesses worldwide that we've worked with, and in Infusionsoft that I market to via email. Now, my company hasn't quite made that shift into having a large following on social, but I can tell you, here are some of the tips that I've taken away being a CEO, trying to manage my time on social and still close deals using social media. So on a budget, meaning I don't spend anything on social media. So I'm going to show you how I've managed to generate, $10,000 contracts, $25,000 contracts using social. Does that sound like a good value add there?
That's amazing.
100%. Because the only thing better than a small budget is free 99. So give us your tips, because that's exactly what we want the small businesses to know.
That's the kind of ROI we want. $25,000 for zero.
Yes. Okay, well, I'll give you exactly that. But I want to start with some higher level pictures. So there's two strategies that we teach at Holmes International, all based around my father's. So my father was the original founder, Chet Holmes, and he wrote a New York Times bestseller called The Ultimate Sales Machine. Now, we have a strategy called the best buyer strategy. It's basically going after those people that buy the most from you the most often. So we typically, historically, have taught that via, go out to them using lumpy mail and direct mail. This is how I've been able to use it on, let's say, a Twitter. So for the longest time, I was really upset that I didn't have a lot of followers on Twitter. And I have about 3,000 now. It's not like it's a big number. But one day I tweeted out just saying, I'm done with this whole Twitter thing. I'm not getting value from it. I'm just tweeting into the atmosphere and nobody's responding to me. I'm done. And then it was silly.
We feel that too.
Yeah, right? How many of you feel that? So many people feel that. It's like, why am I doing this? And then my friend, Mary Shanuda, she also goes by Paleo Chef. She has about 120,000 people following her on Instagram and has been able to grow Fat Fudge, which is her new product, to over a million in 2 years because she had her social following. So she's a great one to listen to. She told me, well, the reason that she got all of her celebrity clients was mostly through Twitter. So instead of thinking, I'm tweeting out for my followers, instead she started tweeting out to people that she was looking to use as a client. Then my whole world shifted, this dynamic shifted of, maybe I'm actually using Twitter to engage with people that I normally wouldn't be able to get through to using telephone or using email or LinkedIn. So I use this strategy with a very popular CEO of a company that was the fastest growing in Minnesota. And they have about, 40,000 clients, something or so. So I started tweeting to him. We built a relationship because I was sharing his content. I was sharing what I thought was really great about different talks that he gave. And then we engaged on Twitter Messenger, and I managed to close a $10,000 speaking engagement from him, all through Twitter Messenger. I didn't talk to him on the phone. We didn't engage over email. It was like the most bizarre thing. I'm looking around going, how is this possible? But it's just, it's like the Wild West right now when it comes to Instagram Messenger, Twitter Messenger, Facebook Messenger, especially if you're in the B2B world, business to business, right? People aren't really engaging there. They're more engaging on LinkedIn. Right. So there's so much more power in being able to reach out to an influencer or reach out to what I would call a best buyer. So that particular business had 40,000 businesses under their umbrella. So to me, that's a best buyer for me because I want to market to their clients.
Such a great tip.
Right? So that's the best buyer strategy done through social media. So that's an example of that on Twitter. But also, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. What if you had 50 of your best buyers following you on, let's say, Instagram? So another one of my best buyers would be ClickFunnels. So Russell Brunson and I follow each other on Instagram. And just a few weeks back, I happened to write a message. Thank you. I happened to write a message to him on Instagram, just asking him, how's it going? What's going on with you? And he replied back, hey, I'd like to buy 600 Ultimate Sales Machine books from you and send it out to my top clients. I was like, wow, that's a great thing. Yes, of course. That would be wonderful. So it's kind of, if I had tried to get a hold of him via email, probably wouldn't have been so quick or successful, or tried to call. I mean, come on. I'm sure that there's like 50 different levels that you can't get to the CEO of ClickFunnels, right? So that's one way that I've used the best buyer strategy to get a hold of those people that buy the most from you the most often, right? But build that relationship via social media. So I'm going to land that with you guys. You want to ask or talk about that a bit before I go on?
Well, first I want to clarify. If you guys think Amanda's in a car, she is.
Between Santa Cruz and San Francisco, right?
Yeah, between Santa Cruz and San Francisco and between two big meetings. So she definitely felt it important to come here and share these tips. And I'm so glad she did because that was amazing. I think, too, when we had started talking, I'm not sure you're going to get into this, but you talked a lot about your events that you were using on Wednesday and how you I think you had such a stealthy ninja-like approach to it, which is extremely important. It's not just what you're doing, but how. So are you getting more into that, or can I ask about that now?
Yeah, so I was going to give the best buyer strategy. And then I was going to hit the 3 most engaging posts that I've done. And
awesome.
The first one is that event strategy.
Perfect. Okay, well, let's dive into that too. Do we have any questions online yet?
We don't have any questions, but we do have a couple of people saying hello. So let's say hi to Jarvin, hi to JW Credit Repair. Goodwill of Central and Northern Arizona says, Arizona, we love Infusionsoft.
Hey, Jean.
Arlene says, hi from Pennsylvania. Laura says, nice. And Stacy says, hi from Tulsa. So we've got...
Oh, lovely.
And JW Credit Repair says, hi from South Florida. So we've got a bunch of states coming together to listen to you, Amanda. So.
Oh, good. Well, please ask your questions and shout out where you're from. Like they said, I'm pulled over on the side of the road. If you see my camera move, it's because a car has just passed by.
That's awesome. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, I just came from a Life Aid. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They sell 1 million bottles a month. I'm doing some business with them, and then I'm headed off to an angel investor in Silicon Valley. So I stopped because I felt that this was really powerful, and I'm glad that we could hop on.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Let's dive into your next strategy then and talk about some of what you've seen be successful.
Yeah. So another thing that I want to cover is, so we teach this strategy called the stadium pitch. So imagine that you're going out to 100 people. Maybe you cold call 100 people. Roughly around 3% of those people will be interested in buying your product or service at any given moment. Studies have shown this. So imagine that you have a triangle of the whole buyer's pyramid. Roughly around 3% of the people you're reaching out to with your marketing are interested in buying now. Another 7% are open to it. Maybe in the next couple of months they're thinking about purchasing. the 90% of the people you're reaching with your marketing messaging are not interested in you, your product or service. They're not thinking about it, they're not interested in it, or they're definitely not interested. So what we've taught for the last 30 years is how to utilize educational-based marketing to reach the entire buyer's pyramid. So instead of saying, hey, I have, a business coaching company. Let me tell you about business coaching and why that's important, right? Only 3% of that market is interested in that at any given moment. But if I start talking about, hey, here's the 3 ways that you can double your sales, and I'm going to give you 3 of the most engaging posts and how you can generate tens of thousands of dollars with as little effort as possible, you'd be more engaged in that, right? Because it's the entire buyer's pyramid. It's what you're interested in right now as opposed to what I'm trying to sell you or what I'm interested in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Totally. It's a great strategy.
So for every executive or salesperson that is using social media, think of this as your Facebook following. So roughly on average, every Facebook user has on average 400 friends. That's the average over the span of all Facebook. So imagine that 3% of your Facebook friends are in the buying now category every month. So what are you doing to engage them to purchase, but then also keep that top of mind awareness? And that is the key. That's what I think landed Russell Brunson, a couple weeks ago, is because I happen to be at the top of his mind. And that's the whole point of marketing, right? Is to reach TOMA, top of mind awareness, top of mind awareness, right? So that's what social does for us. So when we're sitting there going, oh, do I really have to post again? Or, oh, this isn't getting to anybody. You are creating top of mind awareness for the followers that you have on the channel. And it doesn't matter how many there are, right? It's just reaching that 3% when they're ready to do it. So in the interim, make sure that you stay top of mind. So I'm going to give you the 3 most engaging posts that I've used to get that response. Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
Perfect.
Okay. So the first one that I've done is for any of you that are going to events. If you want to gain more exposure, if you want to gain more followers, if you want to build relationships with the speakers that are speaking at events, this is what I've utilized. So when I go, 2 days ago, I was at an event in Silicon Valley with a third of the people in the room were billionaires. The rest were investors. The rest were VC funded people. I don't know. It was the first event I'd ever been to that was Silicon Valley all fancy. So, so to try and utilize that and really make my mark there, I started tweeting out what people were saying. So Keith Krach was one of the people, the CEO of DocuSign. His second company to go to $1 billion. Pretty impressive. Insane. So I started finding what were the key things that he said while he was giving his talk. I tweeted them out and I tagged him in the post, and I made sure that I was the first one to post his tweet or his quote as fast as possible. And I've used this at multiple events. So he ended up seeing those tweets and he retweeted like 5 of my tweets, and he has, 168,000 followers. But it's more about, hey, I'm making a connection with Keith Krach. That's what I really care about. Also, Jeffrey Hazlett was another person that was putting on the event. He has 675,000 followers on Twitter. So he started retweeting it too. But again, it's great that I'm getting the message out to their following. But what I care about more is that relationship with that speaker or the relationship with that event. So I used to use this when I was a musician. I think the biggest following that I got in one day was 100 followers from an ASCAP event.
That's
but
good.
Yeah.
Right, it's 100 people in my industry at that time that were interested in what we're talking about. So using those hashtags and replying the speakers, I guarantee you that if you have a great quote of somebody that you're trying to love and you start, singing their praises online, they'll retweet it. They'll repost it. They love that. That's the reason they're on social media. So if you can assist in getting their message across, they'll retweet you. And it's such an easy way to get their attention, right?
And it's so exciting too. I have to say that's happened to me one time. I was at Social Media Marketing World, and Ann Handley was speaking, and she said something, I'm trying to even remember now, but it was extremely, I would say, edgy, and I just loved it. So I quoted her and retweeted it. And she immediately retweeted it and commented, and I remember just feeling so giddy. It's always exciting when people respond back because it shocks you. You're like, you're
Yeah.
such a great influencer in this area, and they take the time to do that, but it's because it's authentic and it's really in the moment.
And
Huge.
it's capturing what they're
so
saying.
important.
Definitely.
What was that?
And you're resharing what they're saying, so they understand that you got the message, that you're spreading the message, and they like that.
Yes, I mean that's how I got Ryan Dice as a client. So I found a quote that I really liked of his. I put it on a meme. It was like, if you're building a company around a product or service that isn't thriving, it's like rearranging the chairs on a Titanic, so to say, something like that. And I put it on a picture of a Titanic sinking, and I tweeted it out to him.
So awesome.
And instantaneously, he tweets back to me, "Who did this?" And at first I thought that I was copyright infringing him. So I was like, I got this quote from your thing, and it's a Shutterstock picture, and I hope it's okay. And he's like, no, I think it's really clever. Great to talk to you. That was our first interaction.
That's
and
awesome.
later on, after he became a client, he told me that he took it back to his team and said, why aren't we doing cool things like this? That was my first interaction with him. And then that opened the door for me to follow up and win him as a client. It took a year later, but it was well worth it, right? That
awesome.
first engagement, that he knew that I was clever enough to take his own stuff and repurpose it into something that was meaningful, really meant a lot to him. So that's one, repurposing other people's content. I've also done this with Marie Forleo, and I got a conversation with her. I did it with Ariana Huffington. I mean, these are important people that love to hear themselves be, be praised.
Typically, you wouldn't want to be connected to a sinking ship, but in this case, it really did benefit you.
Thank
you. I'm so funny.
Okay, are we ready for the second one?
Yes.
Okay, so the second most engaging post that I've ever done, this was so funny. So on a Tuesday morning, someone sent me a Calendly link. For those of you that don't know Calendly, I love it. It's a free software to be able to schedule your own appointments. Mm-hmm. And someone sent me the link and said, schedule a 15-minute conversation. Just click this link. I clicked it. I thought, what a brilliant tool. How can I utilize this? So within 2 hours, I had posted on Facebook. And the post went something like, hey, I'd really like to connect with more of you. I've been out of the loop for a couple of months here. So I'm giving away for 3 days only until the end of this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm opening up my calendar to give 20-minute sessions where I'm going to work on your marketing messaging with you.
What a
absolutely
idea.
For free, just to connect with you. And hey, by the way, here's my Calendly link. All you have to do is click on that link to schedule your time. And here is a little audio snippet of some client testimonials of people that had this strategy session and really loved it. And make sure that you schedule, because by Monday I will be charging for my time again. This is only available until Friday.
Nice.
So by the time I woke up the next morning, I had 40 appointments scheduled, and I didn't do anything but post on my Facebook. Okay, I have maybe like 5,000 people that are friends with me on Facebook. I didn't even go out to my database. I just went to my friends on Facebook.
That's amazing.
So Wednesday I had meetings all day back to back. Thursday, somebody else that had a meeting on Wednesday posted it on their page and then tagged a friend of theirs saying, hey, you should talk to Amanda. She's doing these amazing sessions. I got on the phone with them on Thursday. By Friday, we closed a $25,000 deal, and then I continued to close more.
That's so cool.
From deciding on Tuesday that I was going to do a Calendly link, and then Friday, it was a referral. I didn't even know the person. It was through a Facebook referral that I then got them as a client by Friday.
Right.
Wow. That's awesome.
Okay.
And what a great way to use like a free tool that's available to all small businesses and all people out there that are trying to grow their business to actually grow your business. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, so there were 3 components to this. Number one, I didn't schedule everybody. It would have taken me weeks to schedule 40 people.
Yep.
Weeks, right? So the calendar link was important. The time sensitivity. This is only open from Wednesday to Friday, and then I'm stopping doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That was really important, right? So people felt like there was a limited amount of time. And then the third was actually the audio testimonials. So every 20-minute session that I do, I always record them, because they always say, wow, that was so much content. How do I even remember all of it? So I record it for them. And I put it down into just 1 minute of just back-to-back people saying, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So I had that social group, which was really great. Like,
yeah, that's awesome.
you know, hearing the audio of people saying it was much better than me saying all my clients really like it. So that was the second most engaging post that really helped for me. Remember being that CEO hat and then putting on my sales hat and trying to figure out how to do social media.
That's amazing. I think all of those are such great ideas. I hope all of you out there take even just one
notes,
and do that for your own business, because all of them were great.
Yeah, I have a third one.
Yeah.
The third
Okay.
one.
God, those were so good. I thought number 2 was 2 different ones, but that was all from the same.
And we already have somebody saying that they're going to start following you. Her name's Stacy, and she's amazed by your tips. So thank you very much for sharing.
Yay! Okay, awesome.
Okay,
so
number
the third
3.
one that I have, so I learned this again from Mary Shanuda. I love her, paleo chef. You can follow her on Instagram. She's fantastic. So she every 2 weeks she does a contest, and I thought, oh, that's kind of a cool thing. I mean, it's not a novel idea to do a contest, but just a couple of weeks ago, I had a shipment of 686 Ultimate Sales Machine books that people had ordered. So I put a picture online of a bunch of books, and with one book, and just said, can you guess how many books are in this stack of boxes? And whoever wins gets to win an Ultimate Sales Machine book. And I only did it for like 20 hours, and it was kind of just a whim thing that I did for fun because I thought it would be funny. And in 20 hours, I had 100 people all guessing, all getting interactive, all getting excited. And yeah, I gave away 2 books instead of 1. But it was a great way to just get people involved. And also, when they interact like that, they start to think more about it. So they're like, oh, 686 books were ordered. That's really cool,
Totally.
So it's just a little bit more engaging. That one I didn't tie exactly to an ROI, but I bet you way more people ended up buying the book after that. I don't have metrics on it. I wish I had. But that was a great contest. And I feel like I need to do more contests after I did that most recent one. So that's a good example of a contest.
Totally.
Yeah, and it's more qualitative, like quantitative. But you know that you reached that audience and they were engaged, and now they're going to be thinking of you. And it's, again, Toma, like you said.
Yes, yes. Well, that ties me back. So you guys were going to ask me, what is a successful post, right?
Yes.
You still want to.
What do you consider?
Huh?
What do you consider a successful post?
Yeah. So there's 3 things that I would consider successful. So, or success from social media. One is getting a best buyer to follow you. So somebody that I'm trying to win as a client right now, they're a $100 million company, and I've had a couple of conversations with them, but now they're following me on social. So now I can share with them all the different things I'm doing. I would consider that a big win. Can you get your best buyers, the one that buy the most from you the most often, those big deals, those big customers, to follow you? And it's an easy ask, right? It's not like, hey, give me money, or hey, sign up for my email, sign up for my emails, because everybody's just so overwhelmed with emails today. So that would be one success, is getting best buyers to follow you. Number 2 would be building rapport. So as a sales trainer, right, you're 65% of the way to a sale if you do one thing right, and that's build rapport. So rapport, meaning that they like you, they trust you, and they respect you. So social media is the perfect platform to build that rapport, right? And do it in mass, right? I don't have to go 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. I can reach out to 3,000 people, letting them know that I'm at a client's place, right? And they're all seeing it. They're all knowing that I'm, shaking hands with Keith Kroc and working on how we're going to work together,
Exactly.
So that's a win for me too, building that rapport. And then the third is closing deals, right? And like I said before, it's so important to be able to start a conversation. So you start the conversation on social, and I've closed majority of my deals using Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, Twitter Messenger, or DM, direct mail. They're great platforms to just have it feels like it's an off the record conversation.
Totally. That's great.
And very personal, right? I mean, it's
So
directly
personal.
into your DMs or your direct messages, Twitter, and you just feel like the person really cares. And even though they might have, like you said, 100,000 followers, they're still trying to communicate and talk with you.
Yeah, it's a complete, yeah, go ahead, Crystal.
I was just going to say, all I know is after hearing you speak, I feel like we need a sequel to your dad's book about some of the ways to modernize even the tips they had, because the principles still apply. Sometimes it's hard for anyone to make the connection of how does what we were doing then, working on phone and email, how do we now make that work in the new world, you know, the modern world where we're in our mobile phones all the time? Like, how do we reach our customers and our audiences now? And I think you should be writing that sequel.
I do have 2 offers. I do have 2 publishers that have offered to write my book.
Well, if you can carve out some time on the side of a road somewhere, I think it would be the perfect opportunity to share all these tips with even a bigger audience than now, because that was all amazing.
We do have a question.
Yeah.
Awesome.
From Mez Gabu. What is the benefits of having many followers? For example, I have 62,000 followers on Facebook page from Edmonton, Canada.
Wow, that's a great amount of followers.
Yeah, that's serious. So the benefit would then be, how do you create enough value to then take them to be a client or a customer?
Totally. So,
right?
Yeah, I would say the
3%.
bigger your followers are, the more reach you can get. So there's, I would say, twofold. How do you turn that 62,000 into a client or a customer or a referral? And how do you also maximize on the growth and extra reach you're getting from that 62,000 followers? So that would be my advice, or my benefit, I would
Or
give
find
you.
out who your, what did you say, your big buyers?
Best buyers.
Your best buyers are, and then go from there, build a strategy from there. Because not all 62,000 will be engaged at the same time, or even will be engaged at all, right? Not all of them.
3%.
3%.
3% at any given time. It's 3%.
Do we have any other questions, or if you guys want to comment with any last minute questions so we can make sure to get an answer from Amanda for you? We'll give them a couple seconds to get their fingers typing, but I just want to say again, I'm so glad you were on, and although I'm mortified that the sound didn't work on Wednesday, I am glad that it gave us a little more one-on-one time with you as well to really work in all these great tips you had. So thanks, Amanda, for being on again.
Thank you. And then, so Goodwill of Central and Northern Arizona asked a question. If you had to focus on one social platform, which would it be? Ooh, this is hard.
Getting personal.
Well, it really depends. Yeah, it depends on who your best buyer is. Okay, so not everyone. So typically we see with companies that roughly around 20% of your customers are producing 80% of your revenue. It's the 80-20 rule, right? So how do you focus on that 20%, and where are they? So if you're focused on women, or even mothers or females, a lot of the time Pinterest is the place you go, right? If you're more an e-commerce business, or you're really trying to target millennials, I mean, Instagram is where it's at today, right?
Totally.
Facebook is just everyone. So how do you get into, you know, I would also say a best buyer strategy can be, who are the people, like I had said. So Infusionsoft is a great example of a best buyer for me, because they have lots of clients that are also businesses. So who are we call them influencers today, right? Who are the influencers in your space that have the similar demographic? But just don't go to everyone. Find your best buyers. Where are those best buyers? And a lot of the time, best buyers take longer to get to them, right? Because they're big. One best buyer could change your whole world. Who are those? And continue to go after them with what we call pig-headed discipline and determination.
That's awesome. So don't give up. Don't give up if you don't get a message after the first one. It's hard to get that after a first attempt.
And social media is a great way for this. So Law of Ambition, Lewis taught me this, which I just think is brilliant. If you're not getting them as a client right away, just start commenting on everything they do. I have a big company that I'm trying to go after right now. They're a $100 million company, and they service a lot of people in my industry. And I've just started commenting on everything that they post. They can't get rid of me if they tried. And that's how you get in front of them. I mean, a great salesperson will be in their place, in their space, in their face, everywhere.
Totally.
You can't get away from me, because I'm now commenting on everything that you do. And now I know because of social media, I know everything. You know, so that building rapport thing, we used to have to just kind of ask questions in the dark and you had no idea. Today, you can go on Instagram and go, "Oh, I just saw that about your son. That's so great that he won that tournament. Congratulations." And hey, I saw that. So
That's so true.
this one person that I've been going after, now I know about a lot of his family. So I made some comments about his family, and then I also saw that they just won this big award, and I was like, congratulations on that big award. I'm sure that that's the reason why you haven't closed that whole sales team that you're looking after. You know that I'm here when you need that. So I'm just like interweaving myself into everything that they're doing. They just can't get away from me. But that's how a CEO can use social media. It's all the same foundation of build that rapport, build that trust, build that respect, and then because of the information that you get from social, you can figure out what is their need, what do they need, where can you insert yourself where you give them a benefit that's worth it. And thank God we have that to be able to get all of that information on them today.
I love this. It's like we used to talk about, so Clayt loved your dad's book. And I know he was telling you that at Traffic and Conversion.
Yeah.
But Clayt and Scott also wrote a book about conquering the chaos. And I always feel like these kind of conversations that we just had was like a chaos confessional. You know, all small businesses, they face this. And it's so great, the ideas that you're having that can really like inspire. It inspired me. And I imagine it inspired all of our small businesses. So I really appreciate your time today, even literally between 2 meetings in 2 cities. Thank
On
you
the side
so
of the
much.
road.
Yes, exactly.
Next to
Next
the
time we're
ocean.
going to do it from the car too. That way we're all there.
I wanted to show you guys the ocean, but I can't figure out how to do it. Okay.
Oh.
Anyway.
So to recap real quick, you had talked about when you're at events, tweet out quotes that the speaker is saying and try to be the first one and then tag them. And then hopefully you'll be able to get that retweet or that reply from that specific speaker or influencer, correct?
Yeah.
And then
follow up. The
Follow
fortune's in the follow-up, right?
Yep,
so that
definitely.
opens the door to be able to have that conversation.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. That's
yeah,
awesome.
actually, yeah, that's a good one. Follow up. Don't just do it and then the event is over, 2 months pass. Hey, I'm not getting the interaction. Well, you're not following up. Maybe that's
Right.
why. All right, and then what else did she mention? Number 2.
I don't even know
The
where to
second
start. There's
post
so many
was
good.
posting about giving a 20-minute,
Oh, that
20
was
minutes
my,
of your
that actually
time
was my
for
favorite.
3 days. You open up your calendar, right?
And you said free, and then you build that sense of urgency, which is only for 3 days. Then I'm going to start charging.
But also you're giving something of yourself. So
Exactly.
it really is free, that time that they're getting, and by that they see the benefit of working with you, and that's
Yep.
like an automatic sale. So it's brilliant.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
the third one was the contest, the
The
guessing how many
contest.
books. So all of
Yep.
those are great. They all seem very engaging, and aside from just engaging, they seem like they're actually inspiring action, which I think is what we all want from our social
Inspire
media.
action. You
Yes.
build a community, because I'm sure all those people were like, no, I think it's this many, I think it's that many. And then you start getting people talking, you start getting your Instagram post engaging, and then Instagram realizes, oh, this post is engaging, I'm going to show it to more people, and then it shows it to more people. So it's all, like, we love giveaways and contests. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda.
Yeah.
We'll let you know if we have any other questions directed to you that come in after, but we really
Okay.
appreciate your time and
Yes.
your willingness to share all these great tips. I'm already trying to think how we can use them at Infusionsoft as well. So if we copy one of your ideas, we'll tag you to thank you.
Yeah, sounds great.
Well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
And we
much.
hope you have a great next meeting, and thanks for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
You too. Have a good Friday.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye. Okay, Instagram.
Well,
There you have
Instagram-
it.